Bryan Freedman has just responded to Blake. I, Bryan Freedman, representing all the Wayfarer parties, I submit this affidavit in opposition to the motion to strike.
Bryan Freedman has now responded to Blake. I, Bryan Freedman, representing all the Wayfarer parties, submit this affidavit in my opposition to the motion to strike. Bryan Freedman saw it coming. Taylor Swift wouldn't stay silent forever. The Rye. Signs of her split from Blake Lively weren't just rumors. They were warnings. In this video, we dive into the hidden stories that fueled their fallout and explore why Blake's clean getaway from controversy might not be possible.
Justin Baldoni has dropped his subpoena for Taylor Swift, and then Blake Lively's people putting out these statements about, yes, we're so glad that this was done. Our friend and this megastar that dragged into this, and Justin. I mean, guys, you heard all the ridiculous things they try to do. Everything that they're doing, they try to deflect it and say that it's Justin Baldoni and Wayfarer and Bryan Freedman doing it, but they're doing it. Or they try to gaslight us as though things are just going really well, really swell over there in the Reynolds and Lively household and with their camp, and that they're really winning and pushing forward. And it's not us doing bad things. It's Bryan Freedman and Justin Baldoni. Sure, sis. But then we also heard about Taylor Swift essentially disowning her, talking about how she was full of red flags. She's relieved their friendship is over, that she's completely cut her off. Essentially, this is the way I see it, is that she absolutely hates her. Blake was toxic. She was a narcissist in her life. She didn't say these words. This is my gathering, is that she was a narcissist, and that over the years, it was all this stuff happening. It was chaotic being friends with her, and that it is just like a release, that it's finally done with. Now, some people were saying, how could Taylor not know? I don't know if Taylor didn't know if Blake was toxic or not, but would we say the same thing to a woman who was in a relationship with a man who was a narcissist? Many of us have been in relationships with narcissists, or been friends with narcissists, or have family members who are narcissists. And it takes getting to a certain point that the lights cut on, that you see the red flags, you know you've been mistreated, but you get conditioned to deal with it. Now, I don't know if Taylor Swift is a narcissist. There have been claims of that. I don't know. But I know if you are an empath, which some also claim that Taylor Swift is, that you can go under years of narcissistic abuse and excuse it away, or just you learn to adapt psychologically. But it is when that final straw is that final straw, the final nail in the coffin, it just wakes you up, and you can see the pattern, you can see the abuse, you can see the gaslighting and the manipulation that you were under for so many years that you just could not see at first. So I want to extend grace in that aspect until we find out more what was actually going on. I feel like we need to extend some grace, because many of us have been in these situations. And again, you have to put yourself in those shoes. And then I also compare it to a woman being in a relationship with a narcissist. We would not have the same response. I'm not defending anything, because I don't know the truth at this point, but the move she's making now, in my eyes, it basically makes me see her better. It redeems her a lot in my eyes.
Taylor Swift and Blake Lively once defined Hollywood's golden friendship. From dreamy New Year's Eve parties to girls' trips that melted fans' hearts, their bond felt untouchable. Taylor posted loving tributes to Blake on Instagram, and Blake praised Taylor's music and talent in interviews. Even Blake's kids made it into Taylor's lyrics, like hidden Easter eggs, sparking fan theories. And then there were those iconic vacations, cozy selfies, and red carpet giggles that made people believe this was more than a surface-level friendship. But was it? Public images can be deceiving, masking what's happening underneath. Bryan Freedman hinted at this when he said Taylor's break from Blake wasn't just likely, it was bound to happen. For years, they projected a friendship that looked flawless, maybe too flawless. Fans clung to every public moment, believing it proved their closeness. But fame often crafts illusions. Instagram posts, shoutouts, and joint appearances might be less about real emotion and more about strategy. Could Blake have used this dynamic to her advantage? Some speculate Blake gained more by standing beside Taylor in the spotlight. Sure, Blake was already famous, from her acting and marriage to Ryan Reynolds, but being close to Taylor gave her access to new opportunities. Taylor has influence, and Blake may have known exactly how to leverage it. Her image soared, media coverage grew kinder, and her brand glowed brighter. Coincidence? Maybe not. Maybe it was intentional. Insiders say Taylor notices more than people assume. She's open-hearted, but behind the scenes she sees motive. Industry whispers say Taylor caught on before anyone else. Loyalty lapses, backhanded compliments, or support that only flowed one way. Those details matter. Smiling for a photo is easy. Maintaining trust is not. Freedman's comments supported this idea, suggesting the fallout was unavoidable. He implied Blake leaned on the friendship to boost her image. Their perfect dynamic couldn't last forever, and if Taylor spotted the cracks, she wouldn't ignore them. It makes you wonder, were the signs already there? Maybe the sweet memories were already laced with tension we didn't see.
Baldoni has now withdrawn the paperwork seeking information from Swift about what she knew about former friend Lively's war with the actor, with an insider exclusively revealing the reason for the drastic move. Okay, so this is an insider. And I have to say, people will say that the Daily Mail is just tabloid. They may have been, and maybe even early in this case, but for the past few months, they have been zeroing in and really giving tea that nobody else has and reporting the truth about what's going on in this case. So shout out to Daily Mail for that. When they say they have an insider, it is an insider. Okay, there's somebody, most likely it could be Bryan Freedman or whoever on Justin Baldoni's team that is giving them this information. They're not going to publish it unless they have an actual real insider. And we already know, based on past articles, they have had conversations, okay, with that side. They've been getting real and true information and doing great investigative work, particularly about Blake's former company and her brother and all of that craziness that I brought to you guys. But here we go with the statement. They said Justin Baldoni's attorney, Bryan Freedman, dropped the request for the subpoena, and the reason for doing this is very simple. They got exactly what they were seeking, which we heard yesterday, but there's more. Sending a subpoena to Taylor and Taylor's response has provided Baldoni's team with everything they needed. Taylor stated that she was not involved at all, and this is in stark contrast to what Lively has said. Taylor's lack of involvement proves that Blake lied about several very important details to this case. Furthermore, the court has now has information that is documented to show that Blake's attorney did, in fact, threaten to leak Taylor's private text. This is backed up by evidence. Taylor was always considered to be the smoking gun in this, and everyone is extremely pleased with the end result and the information it yielded. They got exactly what they were hoping for and much more. This is coming from Justin's side. Okay, everything is backed up with evidence. They got exactly what they needed. And that's why this whole thing about the subpoena is quashed. I mean, they withdrew their subpoena that Blake tried to put out. This is what I'm not going to read it again because it was just a bunch of BS. But this is what you know what? Actually, I will read it because we need to see the BS in real time just for a laugh. So with that statement out, it makes it clear Taylor Swift is working to help Justin Baldoni in his fight against Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. Now, Lively's spokesman said in a statement to Daily Mail, "We are pleased that Justin Baldoni and the Wayfair parties have withdrawn their harassing subpoenas to Taylor Swift and her law firm. We supported the efforts of Taylor's team to quash these inappropriate subpoenas directed to her counsel and will continue to stand up for any third party who is unjustly harassed and threatened in the process." Sure. Swift's rep told Daily Mail when the original subpoena was issued, Taylor Swift never set foot on the set of this movie. Okay, we know all that. And then she just had all that Taylor did, as we know, they're still claiming this. Taylor's just saying the only thing she did was license her song. But then I would say we have to talk about the meeting when Taylor was there in the apartment, in Blake and Ryan's apartment. And he was he's saying he was coerced by not anything that Taylor said or did, but her presence and her saying, "Oh yeah, this is great," that he felt this pressure. We got the whole dragon text after that. But then we also are hearing about how Justin says that he showed them Isabella Ferreira's audition tape, and that both Blake and Taylor was like, yes, that's the one. Now, that to me is a little innocuous, because we don't know if, like, did he send it to them? Like, just did he send it to Blake and Blake said, oh, I'm here with Taylor and we both actually absolutely love it? Did he physically go and show them this? We haven't really heard anything. I don't believe that was in Justin Baldoni's lawsuit, that he actually physically showed Taylor Swift anything. So it gets murky. We don't know if Blake just lied about that, or maybe Taylor, she was hanging out with Taylor and they happened to be there, and Justin Baldoni showed Blake because of that. I don't know, but she says she was never on set. So how would he show Taylor Swift this? We've got to get some answers to it. But either way, at this point, Justin Baldoni and Bryan Freedman, Wayfair, they're all satisfied with whatever evidence and things that have been provided to them to show that it was not, Taylor Swift really did not have any involvement. And in anything that Blake is alleging, well, it's completely false. She just used my name.
What if those adorable memories we loved were actually quiet warning signs? Consider this. When Taylor Swift used Blake Lively's kids' names in her songs, it felt heartfelt, like a tribute to their bond. But in hindsight, wasn't it a huge win for Blake's image? Taylor didn't drop those names randomly. It connected Blake's family to a global music icon, creating instant buzz and positivity for Blake. Fans called it sweet, but was it more beneficial to Blake than to Taylor's? Art? And think about their appearances. Who gained more from them? Every photo of them laughing, hugging, or on vacation painted the same story. Blake, the relatable A-lister, and Taylor, the superstar, were bestie goals. Yet, insiders say Blake leaned on this image more than Taylor did. Around the time their friendship hit headlines, Blake wasn't starring in big films. Suddenly, her media narrative shifted. She was now seen as effortlessly cool, with Taylor by her side. That's not an accident. Little things might have triggered Taylor's doubts. Some sources say Blake played the loyal friend in private, but didn't always show it when it counted. For example, her social media rarely highlighted Taylor, especially compared to how often Taylor posted about Blake. And let's not forget the Reputation era. Taylor faced backlash left and right. A few friends stood firm, but Blake? She wasn't exactly at the front lines defending Taylor. People close to them have noted that their friendship wasn't always equal. Taylor's influence is powerful. Access to elite circles, media boosts, and cultural relevance. It's possible Blake benefited from that without giving back as much. Did Blake use this friendship to elevate herself? Freedman's comments hint that Taylor may have questioned Blake's intentions long before the public knew. Blake's career looked solid, but the Taylor connection extended her reach beyond Hollywood. Those group trips and glamorous New York outings weren't just fun. They reminded everyone that Blake was in Taylor's exclusive circle. But what did Taylor get in return? It's fair to ask whether these imbalances added up and pushed Taylor to reevaluate the friendship. It's hard to ignore how much Blake seemed to gain. When you zoom out, some milestone moments feel a little too calculated. Was there one major fallout? Or was Taylor tallying each moment until enough was enough? One thing's clear. Those perfect pictures didn't show the full story.
Let on.
Here's more details on that source. I, Bryan Freedman, representing all the Wayfarer parties. I submit this affidavit in opposition to the motion to strike by Blake Lively, elaborating the basis for the subpoena to Taylor Swift. On February 14th, 2025, I received a voicemail from a person very closely linked to Taylor Swift, whom I subsequently called back the same day. Out of respect for the individual in question, I am not identifying them at this time. However, should the court direct me to do so, I will comply with a court order. During the February 14th phone call, which lasted approximately 1 hour, the speaker told me that they had been informed that J. Douglas Baldridge, counsel for Taylor Swift, and a partner at Venable, had received a phone call from Michael Gottlieb, counsel for Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, during which Mr. Gottlieb requested, on Miss Lively's behalf, that Taylor Swift make a social media statement in support of Miss Lively, given her absence from the Super Bowl that year. and stated that if Miss Swift failed to do so, Miss Lively would release 10 years of private texts with Miss Swift. The individual also told me that they had been informed that Miss Baltridge had accused Mr. Gottlieb of extortion and ended the call. During the same 14th call, the individual told me that they had been informed that 4 or 5 months earlier, Miss Lively had requested that Miss Swift delete her text messages with Miss Lively. I was connected to this individual through a mutual friend who informed me that the individual wanted to talk. We have had several phone calls since February 14th. On a later call with the same individual, the individual told me that Mr. Baltridge had sent a written communication to Mr. Gottlieb relating to their phone conversation. My office issued a subpoena to Taylor Swift for the purpose of seeking the aforementioned written communication. I swear under penalty of perjury. Guys, do you get how big this is and how much this is exploding in Blake and Ryan's face? This is unreal.
The Met Gala, a place where friendships shine under the spotlight, but it might also be where some quietly fall apart. For Taylor Swift and Blake Lively, this glittering evening may have been more than a fashion parade. It could have been the night everything started to change. Hours after the event, rumors swirled. People noticed the duo didn't seem as tight behind the scenes. One specific moment drew attention, a private conversation reportedly overheard at the gala. Sources say Blake made a comment that rubbed Taylor the wrong way. It wasn't cruel or loud, but to Taylor, it felt like a subtle dig. Most people wouldn't think twice, but Taylor remembers everything. She reportedly felt blindsided, interpreting the tone as disrespectful. It wasn't an argument, just enough of a jab to plant doubt. And here's the twist. This was the first time in years that their usual post-gala bonding went missing. No tagged photos, no playful captions, no shared moments. Just silence. It stood out more than a public feud ever could. Fans were left wondering, what happened behind those flashing cameras? And the distance wasn't only online. Insiders noticed a change in how they acted around each other at the event. While Taylor dazzled per usual, the vibes between her and Blake seemed off. One source described it as awkward tension. Blake, who usually cheered Taylor on, appeared distant. Taylor, already noticing red flags, may have taken this as confirmation. Freedman's comment about their friendship being doomed feels chilling in hindsight. That night, something might have shifted for good. The gala's grandeur magnifies everything: missteps, gestures, unspoken dynamics. Nothing goes unnoticed. Taylor's inner circle is known for loyalty. She doesn't brush off betrayal, especially if it feels strategic. What's even more intriguing is what reportedly happened after. In the following weeks, sources say Taylor's attitude toward Blake changed. Not with drama, but with cool distance. Was that the night she decided to protect herself? For celebrities, one evening can echo for months. This wasn't just an awkward moment. It may have been the start of a careful exit strategy. And if the gala sparked that shift, what followed only proves that Taylor had been paying attention all along.
Taylor wasn't done picking up those pieces yet.
Taylor Swift is declaring, I am nobody's dragon, girl. I am not your dragon. I've stayed quiet. I've stayed away. But girl, now that I'm getting dragged in this, you're about to get run over because I am not going to hold back. And I would bet you, all of this was like, well, you got to do that. You got to serve me. Yes, here's the tip, but you didn't hear it from us. You gotta push it. You gotta push it. And I bet you there's a part of Taylor that's kind of like, yes, subpoena me, do it. I mean, of course, as Ron said yesterday, Ron Zambrano told us, yeah, every celebrity pushes back. All this sort of stuff happens. But man, this is ugly. Notice, Taylor Swift, one of the most litigious people in the world, is not coming forward to deny any of this. Typically, when her friends, women under fire, are put in the spotlight like this, she is very quick to go after and declare and have her team shut up everybody. It's unreal the power Taylor Swift wields. Love her or hate her, it's all facts. The fact that she's not, we'll see, give it a day or so. If we don't hear from Taylor today to squash all of this and clear the air, Well, that tells you everything. And I wouldn't be put about if I bet you someone on Taylor's team has confirmed this to Justin's team. I wouldn't be surprised at all if this isn't coming from them directly. Look, we're frustrated too. We'd like to help, but our hands are tied unless you subpoena us. Just like the New York Times did to Blake Lively for those texts, right? Well, we're gonna need this if you're gonna do it. It's all biting her back in the butt. Why would she want those texts deleted? I am so fascinated. Who is the source? Oh my God, this is getting good. This is getting good. Blake and Ryan must be, oh, can you imagine the stress they are facing right now? Because now it's all coming to head. As I've been predicted and I've been told by very good sources, this is going to explode so disgustingly in their faces.